release early, release often. It makes a big difference. It's sometimes easy to forget this because you're so focused on I need to fix it, I need to get everything to work. But the earlier you can show people things, the better. And the more often you can give feedback, the better. So we've talked about community. We've talked about how community has these properties. We've talked about having the way to grow this is by having a pathway to contribution, showing people how to build these things. So in the last like 5 minutes that I have, I want to talk about how we do this in Apache. In Apache, we have a project called the Incubator. And basically what the Incubator does is take a project that isn't part of Apache and makes it part of Apache. The idea is that we have this nonprofit foundation. So we have all this legal support and everything else. And when a project gets to a certain size, they often want this support. But making your own foundation is a lot of work. So what we'll do is we will let you use our foundation so you don't have to deal with it. So many projects have joined Apache through the Incubator. Its primarily support is to, what it does is make sure that legal, ensure that all the donations, we have very high standards for our contributions. We need to make sure everyone has a contributor license agreement, so we know we have the rights to it. We make sure that we have the legal rights to the code. So we do a full audit of the code in the Incubator. And the other part is we want to make sure that the community for this project shares the values that Apache has, that I've just spoken about. Having diversity, having all of these ideas of growing a community. So a project starts in the Incubator and does not leave until it meets these two parts. There have been 30-some projects that have graduated. So these are all projects that have gone through the Incubator. Some that you may know, ActiveMQ, CouchDB is a rather recent one. Harmony is our virtual machine. Tapestry, there's been a lot. Solar is one people know. So these are all graduated. These are ones that are currently incubating right now. One I'm working with right now is ESME. It is a Twitter, it's an enterprise Twitter implementation. So it's a microblogging. So like Twitter, it's written in Scala and runs on the Lift web framework. It was contributed by developers in SAP. So I'm helping with that right now a little. I think that's the only one I'm helping with right now. Oh, Thrift is really cool too, if you haven't used it. Thrift is from Facebook, and it's basically a re-implementation of Google's protocol buffers. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, you should still look at it. So what we basically have is we have different roles. So we have mentors. So like I help mentor the ESME project, the ESME project. Each project we call podling. So we'll have someone who champions the podling and sponsors it. And so we have this kind of breakdown. Really quickly, what our process is first someone says, should we join the Incubator? So that question needs to be answered by the community. You need to find someone who will be your champion. So search for a champion in Apache who says, yes, I will introduce you to the Incubator. Usually you can just send an email to the Incubator list and say, I've got this idea, will someone help champion it? Once you have a champion, your project needs to commit to the process, which means you fill out a proposal. And we have a template form. You fill out and answer a bunch of questions that help us understand the project, and you submit the proposal. Then we have a vote on it. Once it's voted, you're committed. You're in the Incubator. After that point, we basically set up a project space for you in Apache. We give you space to work. And then we make sure that all of your committers, all of the people who are part of your project have joined Apache, so they get Apache accounts, they sign the committer license agreement, and then we start the software legal clearance, so we get a software grant if we need to. So this is getting into the Incubator. Once you're there, mainly what you're going to be doing is a lot of learning how Apache works, learning our processes and our standards, the tools that we have. That means that you will have to adjust your process often and change some ways things have been done. You will need to grow by having, we make sure that you have at least gone through the process of adding one new committer. So we want to see that a project learns how to add someone. And you need to do regular reports. This is one part a lot of people don't like, is at least every 3 months you have to do a report. And you need to also do at least one release. So you want to do the release process to see how Apache does releases. And then once you've done all that, you can leave. So we've had over 50 projects that have done this. It varies, time varies a lot. The average right now, this started in 2004, so over the last 5 years, the average is 14 months to complete it, from start the proposal to finish and you're done. But it goes anywhere from 2 to 28 months. Usually in that time, they'll add only 2 to 3 committers. Usually don't add a lot of core committers, but you may add lots of people to your mailing list who are like contributors, but aren't core committers. So if you're wondering, is the incubator for you? The answer is, well, check out the website, find out. I'm happy to answer any other questions. With that, I think our time is just about up. So you can find the details here on my website or email me, and I'll stick around if there are any questions. I think we have maybe 5 minutes till the next session starts. Thank you.
So you emphasize the role of the community, which is understandable. Can you give us a sense of the size of the meta community? So people such as yourself actually, you're imparting the knowledge about how to nourish the project.
So like in Apache, for example, we have committees, we have projects which are cross-foundation. So that would be like our conference committee or our PR committee. So it's like that kind of people, which I'm part of those projects, that would do this kind of stuff. Those committees are not very large, maybe a dozen or 2 in each of those committees, and they tend to be the same. Like there's a lot of people who are on all of those committees. Like they have the same interest. But again, like the other projects, like you only need maybe 15 people to make all of the Apache web server that runs half of the internet. Only 15 people did a lot of that. You only need a few people going out and sharing a lot of this information and writing about it. So so I think it leverages in a similar sense. It takes a lot of other people's small contributions who do things. So it's a similar model. Anything else?